everyone, and welcome to round 3 for this session of RSL Active's yoga, veteran yoga. So welcome. If you've not joined us before, welcome to join us, and thank you everyone for allowing me to be able to guide you through today's 60-minute practice. Hello again to everyone that's on the playback, so welcome to you too. All right, so today we're going to do a couple of different things. We're going to be continuing on with some of the breathing towards the end there and sort of working on those lung bits. So I know that a couple of you got a little bit lightheaded last time. That's okay. I'll guide you through that. We'll also be building on what we've done in the last few weeks, and then we take things slow here with the veteran yoga if you've not done it before or you're worried about some flexibility. So I am mindful of any niggles and injuries that you've got or you're carrying. Now, if you have a look as well, the props, I'm big on props. You'll see that we have the chair here as well, because I want to make sure that we can go through some of the things and alternative options if you've been sitting down for a while as well. Please, I'll guide you through if you do need any of the props. And then also, if you're in pain, pain's no good, back off, right? So it's not worth getting injured over something. So if you can't do it, there's always options here. We are trauma informed in the way that we run our lessons. Sorry, I forgot to start there. And what that means is it's all about choice. Okay, so choice, you choose whether you do it. I provide you options as to whether you can move towards that given your flexibility and range of motion on the day. Okay? All right, so let's start off. Okay, let's do it. Actually, yes, let's do it. Let's start off on our seats. So if you can all face the backs of the ring. So we're going to be facing towards me. All right. First chair yoga for me today. So we're going to be doing this with our little bit of a warm-up and warming up everything using our chair today. So if we begin sitting for a while, this will help in this part of the exercise. So with me, so as usual, so this is like our mountain pose sitting down, okay? Our starting pose, hands out. We can straighten our backs using the backs of the chairs, or maybe even we come forward from the chair a little bit so we're not actually leaning on the back. And then if you could just feel your sit bones come in, maybe you try and sort of lean back a little bit and see how your hip goes, and then lean forward to see where your hip goes, right? So maybe even just sort of shake your hips and just connect that with the chair and see where your hip bones or your sit bones are moving. So if we're sort of seeing where we are, we want to be kind of straight. So imagining, like if we were sitting on the ground, is that our tailbone or our sit bones are evenly seated, and then we're facing forward, shoulders are down, hands are palms forward. So with me, we're going to arrive on our mats or on our chair. So breathing in through the nose, and then lowering in. And today's intent is, I'll let you make up something that is relevant to you today. Like shaking out the shoulders. So we're not really shaping too much here, but we're just going to start tapping as well. Tap the shoulders, get your hand and start tapping. All right, some somatic tapping. I'm going to slap ourselves awake, and then on the side here, the microphone's probably going to go doof, 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 but that's okay. All right. And is that working? Yes. Let's go now. Switch hands. All right. And now get your fingers as well. We can start tap the top of your bones here. We're starting to wake up our chest. Hey, hello, Tika. Are you still going? And there's my... Oh, let's try that already. Let's take a breath in through our nose and then breathe out. The next one here, we're going to be opening up our chest as well and our lungs. Ready? Through the nose, breathing in. Shoulders down if you can. There we go. And maybe on the neck and the back. All right, excellent. So from here, grab your thumbs like this, and on the back of your head, right, I'm going to turn the back. There's a bit on the back where we can grab the top and we're just going to massage down and then up, right? So you'll be able to massage on the back of your head and your neck. All right, so you know the pressure to put on. We're working on a couple of pressure points here, right? And we could come down to the side of the neck, behind the ears. A lot of the time we forget that in yoga, there's many other things than just getting into the poses. And this is where we just don't forget to stop to breathe. Here I am talking too much, and so we can just connect our breath in. Right, and then here on our jaw, there's a bit there where we can have our jaw. You can get your fingers in, bit of face yoga. I learnt this the other day. I have a bit tight jaw. And so, I heard this with the yoga and I just started doing it. So I'm going to try and teach you a couple of bits as well. Apparently, as we get older, we get the double chin, right, bit here. And these are some of the exercises that I've learned to be able to do it, right? So we're going to do that first. So we're going to tilt your head back without looking too much to dump on your neck. Right, and then you're going to open your mouth. And then it's like going like this, and we're going to poke our tongue out 10 times. We're going to breathe in, and then poke our tongue out, right? So I'm going to stick out, and then stick our jaw out, so that we can stretch this into 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, so now you can neutralize the face. We're going to look up and to the left and stretch that right hand side. So we're going to look up and to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now we're going to be facing the other way and looking up. Left hand side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's it, 9, 10. We might not be able to see that through the beards if we've got beards. All right, so now I'm going to grab our right hand. Again, we're going to lift over, and without pulling too much, a little bit of pressure, trying to, if you can see, maybe grab hold of the side. So that straightens our back, and we're going to look up and down. All right, so we're going to put a little bit of pressure on the side so that we can feel a bit of a stretch. You actually might also feel a bit of stretch in your shoulders. A few yes and no's. Right, you don't need me to guide you through what a yes and no is. Right now, switch hands, hand over, and yes and no's. A lot of the time when we're sleeping as well, we might sleep on our side. I don't know if any of you are the slide sleepers. I am. And sometimes, or quite a lot, if you get stuck, you can sleep on your neck funny. So this is a way to try and sort of at least massage a little bit of it out. Right, last bit on the neck is we're going to do a couple of head rolls. Right, so you can sort of get into your seat now. Let the seat take in. So we're going to be going one way. All right, we're still breathing. And if you can, we're going to switch around with the breath. When you're exhaling, on the exhale, see if you can put your tongue to the roof of your mouth slightly. Close your mouth, and then look for that ocean breath. And the sound it makes when you're breathing out is the sound of an ocean, or like you're putting up a seashell to the top of your head. Alrighty guys, from here, we're going to be on the shoulders, hands on the shoulders, and we're going to sit. So let's come to the forwards on the mat so that our sit bone's on the edge here, because we need to do some twists. And we're going to be doing some breathing. Yes, if it incites a yawn, that's great, because we're just shifting our energy as well. So switch to your right. So we're going to breathe in, and then And we breathe out as we turn. Not too fast, we're still warming up the lower spine. As we're doing this, keep going. I want you to, on the out, is think about pulling your belly button in towards your spine. And see where the air goes on the in-breath through your nostrils. A couple of quick ones. 3, 2, 1. Let's put the hands down, shake them out. Right, that lactic acid can build up in there, so we just like to shake it out. Remember, if you need to take a break, you can always stop. And then we're going to come in now. Let's go again. We're going to be going to your left this time, or the opposite way to what you did last time. So what we're doing as well is we're looking and imagining that we're pivoting from our sit bone to the top of our head. And we're really just turning that top of the torso. So breathe in and yes. You don't need to turn all the way, right? It could just be a small movement because we're just starting to flex and warm up our spine. Couple of quick ones. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, shake it out. Right, from here we're going to shift our backs into the seat again. And if we've been sitting in our seat for a while, this will also help. Right, so we could feel where we are comfortable. We're going to come down to our mountain pose, which is a seated mountain pose. Let's have a look at our feet as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to be mindful again, as what we've been doing, is really building from the ground up. So as we sit here, look down at your feet, and look, your feet could be shoulder width or to the same width of the chair. Now, from here, I want you to imagine that we're trying to place equal amounts of pressure on, or equal weight on our feet. Now lift our toes and place them down. All right, so we're grounding again. Growing in the spine from here. Inhaling, lifting your hands up, looking to the sky, but without, if your hands are forward, that's also fine. They don't need to be directly over your head. And then from here, we're going to breathe out. All right, in between our hands, that's okay. And then, again, rolling up slowly, and then sliding down so our hands come between our legs, right? Again. And exhaling. We're going to do a 3-part breath now. Inhaling, lower part, inhaling again. And that's the chest, and then right up to the top in your clavicles here, and then. So 3 parts to the breath. Lower body, mid, and then right up the top near our neck. Ready? Inhaling. And then deflating the balloon as we touch the ground. Last thing to dip is our head, so we can loosen our head, and then from here, right, I want you to just sort of do some nose, right, and that's the last bit for your head. We're moving it. So inhaling again now. 3 parts, right, and then we're going to exhale, hinging at the hips, and the last thing to release is your head. We're just doing a few nods here, just to make sure that our head and our neck is loosening up. One more time, inhaling. All the way out, that's 3 parts of the breath. Let's take one more sip, reach higher. One more sip. And then one more for good measure, eh? All right, let's go. Inhaling. Lower, mid, upper. All right, we're full at the moment, we're holding it. We're gonna take one more sip. And then let our lungs relax, and then one more sip, and then last thing's the head, couple of nose. We're going to be changing this up a little bit, so we're going to come up now into some chair twists. So you're going to twist to your right, and exhale as we place our hand on the back of the chair. All right, so if we have a look at me, right, so we're going to be not leaning over, we're sitting up straight. All right, there we go. And then that's all we need to do with the twist. So inhaling. And a lot of the time, a lot of the mistakes there is trying to lean over too much. So we're not trying to lean and put any pressure on our back. We're just turning so that we feel that there's a stretch there. And let's do a couple of breaths here and see where the air goes with this. Loosen the shoulders off. Inhaling. Hands up. And then cactus arms down. As we breathe out, warming up our shoulders. Inhaling and then rotating to the right again. Thinking that our back's askew. All right, looking up. Excellent work. That's excellent there, Gary. Yes. Sorry, I'm not going to single out your name on the thing, but I just did. Sorry. That's all right. That's cool, mate. And then, there we go. Excellent work. And let's take 2 breaths here, everyone. And then, fantastic. All right, so from here, we're going to do some cat-cows in this motion as well. So hands on our knees, and then we're going to inhale. We're going to push our chest forward, so if you can't bend your back, this is just all about pulling your shoulders back from the knee and looking up slightly. And that's a slight back bend if we can't. So this, if we're looking up right at the moment, is our cow, if we were going to be on our hands and knees. And then exhaling, pushing away, and then rounding our back off. Looking and dipping our chin last. And then inhaling. Straightening the arms, shoulders back. This is a seated version of our cat-cow. And then rounding the shoulders, pushing the back back. And then inhaling. Shoulders back, chest forward, and then rounding the back, tucking the chest in. Last one, inhaling. Looking up, and then rounding the back. Fantastic work. Come back to normal, shake it off, and we'll take a stance from here. Let's take a stance. All right, I'm going to come off to the side here. And we're going to turn your chair around. This here. Oh. Is that okay? All right, yes. Oh, that's a little bit higher. Put that there. Okay, well, that'll do. Alrighty, so this we're going to be doing our little version, or actually, turn it around this way so that the legs there. Our version of some cat-cows. So then that way we're all doing our sun salutation to be able to also work in with using the chair today. So a little bit with the chair. Take a step back from the chair. Fantastic work. And then we'll start again from the ground up with our feet. Looking at our feet. A good marker actually is to have a look where the chair seat is. Okay? So if we put our hand out, this is the distance that we kind of want to be, 45 degrees down. Our hands are kind of looking towards the front of here, the front of the chair. That's 45 degrees. That should give us the same length. We're back now, looking at our feet, pointing towards the chair or as best as they can. Equally, weight distributed evenly. Let's lift the toes up and then down. From here, we're going to be looking and growing straight. So spiking up from the feet to the top of the head, inhaling up. And then exhaling as we bend our knees and come down. We might be able to even touch the ground, or you can lean on the chair as well. Last thing to do is release your head. And then from here we're going to inhale, straighten the legs, and then place our hands on the chair. Alright, so if we have a look now, our head should be looking at the front of the chair and our hands are straight. This is our halfway lift. And then exhaling, forward folding again, bringing our hands to the floor, releasing our head. And then this is the bit where we'll be coming in now. Place your hands on the front of the chair again, and then we're going to come up past here, and then lean forward. This is our push-up. Alright, push-up position, or you might even feel comfortable pushing your legs back. Whatever's most comfortable from you. This is our plank pose. right? Or our downward dog. So what we might do is now breathe forward and just shift our weight forward and look forward a little bit. That could be our cow, right? And then push back, and then push back on your hands, bend your knees, yes, excellent, and our back's there, and our head's looking at our feet, downward facing dog. And then we're going to walk forward a little bit, and then drop our hands to meet our feet, dropping our head, that's forward fold, inhaling, coming up one vertebrae at a time, looking up, and then down. Right, so there's a couple of little modifications on the chaturanga there. We're doing this together, so we'll do this a couple more times. Right, so inhaling, hands raised, exhaling, forward fold, inhaling, hands on chair, coming into our straighten the legs, yes, halfway lift, exhaling, bending the knees again, forward fold, inhaling, coming up to our push-up position on the chair, leaning our weight forward, inhaling, look forward, and then exhaling, pushing back to downward dog, or our version of it with the chair, stretching the back, pushing our tailbone to the back. And what we're looking here, like in downward dog, right, let's just take a couple of breaths here, is the lengthening of our back. And that's the most important bit, so that's why I ask you to bend your knees. You can bend your knees there. Bend your knees, yep. Now take your gaze to your feet. That's it. That's perfect. Much better. And we're straightening our back and lengthening the spine, which is what we're looking for in downward dog. Fantastic. And now breathe in, walk up to your feet, touch your feet. That's halfway forward fold. Yes. And then last one, breathing in, hands up, and then looking down. All right, so with this one here, don't forget to breathe, guys. And that's a big one with keeping that posture right, with the legs, yes? And lengthening the back. Last one now, before we move to our standing series, or you know, the balancing series. All right, you know where this is going to go. Inhaling to set. Inhale again, reaching up, looking towards the sky with your hands, and then hinging at the hips, letting the balloon deflate, heads there. Let's take 2 breaths here. One more breath. Next breath, straightening the legs, putting our hands on the chair, straightening the back, and we're in halfway lift. 2 breaths here. I want you to explore where the air goes in the different positions. Inhaling, and then exhaling back to forward fold, hands on the ground, bend the knees if you need to, head's the last bit, and then inhaling, hands up, step back to our push-up position on here, our push-up plank position. Excellent work, everyone. So let's just take 10 quick stabbing breaths here. Ready? All right, that's really strengthening our abs. Can you feel that when you're pushing out with the abs a little bit? And then we're looking forward, back bend. That's our version of the back bend. And then pushing backwards again into downward dog. Bend your knees, pushing away from the hands, stretching the shoulders, gaze to your feet. Amazing work there. That's the big one, the gaze to your feet, and we're lengthening the spine. And then now let's walk up and meet our hands to our feet into our forward fold. Inhaling, coming up all the way to the top, and all right, so let's put our, let's put the chair, you can put the chairs aside for the moment. So just whack them to the side of the, we don't need them, we don't need them. All right, that's part of the chair. All right, so, so from here, we're going to step to the forward of the mat into our standing series. Again, we're going to be looking at our feet, slight bend in the knees, lifting the toes. Amazing work. straightening up, slight dip in the chin, inhaling. We're going to transition to chair pose now, so just going to be pretending we're sitting back. There's no chair there, guys. Fantastic work. If you just bend your knees as much as you can, equal weight. All right, so if we're here, have a look to see if you could lift your toes up. That's where we want to have the weight is more on our heels this time. We're looking at our hands, right? So chest is up. So we don't need to bend down as much and then we're holding here. 2 breaths. And now we're going to come up. This one's different. With me is put the weight on the right foot. We're going to lift the foot up. If we can. If we're going to balance for 2 seconds, 2 breaths. And then down. Whew. All right, so we're going to be, that's the move. So we're coming from chair, and then we're just going to come up to our balance this time, like this, and then down again. Okay, and then switch sides for a couple. So we're just doing some variations on our balancing, and I want you to connect it with our, I'm going to come and face you guys as well so we can see. All right, so from here, on the left foot's the next one to balance this time. Let's set, inhaling to the top, and then exhaling. Chair, there we go, looking at the hands, gaze to hands, and then inhaling. All right, taking it off the foot, that's it. 2 breaths. Now flex your foot, pull your foot up towards your face. That's it. And then hands down. It's a little bit harder than we think, isn't it? So what we're doing is we're working on that balance. So as we come up, we're working on the balance to then shift our weight. So if we're looking at, that's where all the weight's going. And then lifting the leg up. And we're controlling our hip muscles. Right? And then taking 2. And then when I say flex the foot, pulling this up, and then looking at the point in front of you with the gaze will allow you to get that better sense of balance. And it takes practice. All right, so this is going to be, which side are we doing now? The right? Okay. All right, there we go. Let's do this a couple more times. Hands out, inhaling, chair pose, exhaling. 2 breaths here. So reach forward. And then inhaling, our right foot's now the one that's balancing. Inhaling, coming up, that's it, flex the foot, 2 breaths, and then down. All right, so even me, right? So this is the thing, they're all perfect, and then inhale, down, yes, excellent work. All right, so this time it's the left foot. It's okay to be able to see where we're at, all right? Every day is different. Inhaling, exhaling to chair pose. So push your tailbone back. And then what we're doing here is just take a couple of breaths here while you're breathing, is you're reaching forward with your hands. Okay, you're reaching forward, looking at your hands, and then imagining that line with our tailbone is pushing and pulling, right? So imaginary in the head, that's where we're looking at going. This time it's with the left-hand side. So with me, right, inhaling to set, and then exhaling. You can do this if you want as well. Pulling the foot up or having the foot there like this, that's also okay because we're working on the balance. All right, 3, 2, 1. Fantastic work. All right, so from here, come up to the front of the mat. First foot that's going to be moving is our left foot, and we're going to be facing this side of the wall. Okay, so from here, arms up, and exhaling, facing the wall, double-legged, double foot width. Excellent work. I'm just going to move this out of the way. From here, let's have a look at this. Now, look at our feet. So we want to be double width apart, yes, or what works for you? Again, setting the base, our feet are facing the long edge of the mat, slight bend in the knees, and we can imagine that we're putting the pressure or putting the weight against the blade, outside blade of the foot. All right, we're working up from the way down, hands on hips. First thing that's going to be moving is your right foot facing the front of the room. So with me is inhaling, hands up, and then exhaling, hands on hips. Rotate the foot to the front of the room and then bend the knee. Last bit. So from here, our weight is going to be central, so we're going to be putting equal amount of weight to the front and back, and then let's turn our shoulders to me, That's it. Hands on the hips. Fantastic work. Stand up straight. Perfect. And then inhaling, hands up. Exhaling, looking towards the front, hand over the bent knee. This is warrior two pose. Inhaling. And then inhaling, rotating, hands back up. Rotate the foot around and then on the hips. From here we could just jiggle a little bit. So we're just going to try and feel where the sockets are, right? If we just do a couple of rotations, because we are working on these hips as well over time. As you can see where they sort of rotate and go in from our stance. Okay, from here let's go. This time it's going to be the left foot, your left foot, that'll face the mirror when we turn it. Inhaling for set, warrior two. Let's get the base right, bend the knee, turn the foot, yes, fantastic work. Now bend your knee, that's it, excellent. So if we have a look at our knee, our hips open and our knee is tracking over our foot. Fantastic work. From here, inhaling, hands up, and then looking over the shoulder like we're at right crest. Right, look at our knee, we're pushing that out a little bit, yes? 2 breaths here. And then inhaling, hands up, and hello, how are you? Yeah, come and join us, that's all right. You're all right. Yeah, just take, oh, there's 2 seats here for you, Kate. Welcome. All right, so we'll just come in and join in onto the standing sequence. Again, guys, looking at our feet, shoulder width apart, we're going to be doing, facing the front of the room again with warrior two. And this time we'll add one thing onto it, so inhaling. Have a sip, ready? We're building this up, we're coming into our warrior standing series. Inhaling, hands up, look to hands, and then exhaling, hands to hips, rotating the foot, bending the knee. Let's have a look at the base. Fantastic. So where we're looking at now is looking over our foot again, making sure that our leg, our thighs out, so we're opening up our hips. Shoulders towards me, right? Yeah, see, feel that? Feel that with the hip opening? Fantastic work. And inhaling, hands up, and then looking over the hands. Now this time, I want you to take 3 breaths, right? So, but each time I want you to imagine that we're reaching for the front and back of the room and then pushing on both sides of the feet, both feet at the same time. Inhaling, and then expanding. Inhaling, back off a bit, and then expand. One last one. Expand. This one's a little bit different. So from here, in this pose, all right, we're going into reverse warrior. So inhaling, reaching forward, reaching forward, reaching forward. Flip the grip, and then scoop it up. We could rest the back of our hand in and looking up. So we're doing a side bend, but we're not doing like a back bend, right? So we're looking up at our hand. That's where we want to be looking at. We don't need to go all the way back. All right, hands on the back, fantastic work. 2 breaths here. And then as we do it again, reach up at the sky and see if you notice your side ribs stretching. And then inhaling again, hands down, this side. Fantastic work. You know where we're going now with the left-hand side. All right, so let's just actually, you could get out of that stance. Let's jiggle it out a little bit. And then we could start off at the front of our mat again. So you'll be rotating your left foot to be able to face in. All right, inhaling. And then coming back. So we could just sit. So we've got the movement. Oh, that's all right. Face towards me. All right, we're just going to shift our left foot. Hands on hips, looking out. We've got the outside blades of the foot. There's weight there. So inhaling, scooping up, getting that energy, and then exhaling, building on it. All right, so squeeze your butt a little bit as we bend our knee, and then place equal weight. All right, so from here, shoulders towards me. There we go. Rotate the shoulder as best you can. Inhaling, arms up, and then exhaling as we look over. Fantastic work. We're looking at our fingers. Last breath. This one's a little bit different again now. From here, we're going to breathe in, reach forward, flip your grip, and then scoop the energy up towards the sky, and we're doing you should be able to feel a side stretch now in your side body. resting your back hand on your thigh. Fantastic work. Gaze to your hand. There we go. So notice what you notice with your side ribs. Inhaling, and then let's come down from here. Fantastic work. All right, we're going to build on that one more with the side stretch. So from here, we'll just stay in this position here and we'll just flow through a little bit quicker this time. So inhaling, exhaling, hands on hips. Right, I'm doing this in stages so that we're just getting used to be able to get into the motion. Other way, Darren. Other way. Yes, that's it. Perfect. Inhaling, hands up, and then exhaling, looking over. 2 breaths here. 1, 2, push, pull. From here, inhaling as we're reaching forward, flip the grip. Reverse warrior. 2 breaths here. Fantastic work. And then from here, straightening up, we're going to now come over and place our forearm on our chin and then lift the hand over. Lift the hand up towards the sky. Perfect. And then bow your chest open. Extended side angle. If you can look up to your hands, otherwise the gaze will be towards the wall. 2 breaths here. Fantastic work. And then inhaling, coming up, and then hands down, shake it off. All right, and then we'll just start off one more there. It's like, you'll be like you were riding a horse, right? We'll play Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. Yeah. All right, that's silly me. All right, that's the DJ coming out. Let's start off in the wide-legged stance. All right, and then inhaling. Exhaling, rotate the foot and the knee. So we're opening up the hips, hands on hips. All right, rotate your body towards me. All right, that's fantastic work. Inhaling, arms up like the wings of a plane and looking over. All right, strong warrior 2 pose. Inhaling, and then expanding and pushing on your feet and pushing on your hands. One more, inhaling, and then right, expanding and pushing. From here, inhale, reach forward, flip the grip, and then scoop it up. Right, that's it. Fantastic work. Reverse warrior. 2 breaths here. Now inhaling, exhaling as we rotate, forearm on our thigh, and then reaching the arm up or in line with our side body, with the side body stretch. Right, extended side angle. 2 breaths here. And with each one of these breaths, keep breathing, guys. I want you to notice where the air goes, because we're stretching the insides, the costals, the pentacostals, or actually I'm going to get the proper term, right? But the nodes inside your lungs, right? Giving them a workout. Inhaling. Alrighty, guys. Now just shake it out, and I'll meet you at the front of the room again. This one here is a little bit different. I'm going to work on our little balance there with our warrior 3. Oh, actually no. We'll do it a little bit different. All right, so from the front of the room, did I need to get some water as well? Too much talking. From here, come up to the front of your mat. Mountain pose. As we've practiced, looking down at the feet, lifting the toes up. I come forward a little bit more because we'll be moving back a little bit. Yes, fantastic. So, inhaling. And then with our left foot's the one that's going to move, right, is shifting our foot back. And now we're going to be, on the ball of our foot, our hips forward. We're going, yes, excellent, hands on hips. Right, now our foot and our hips are forward. Right, from here, we can either choose to bend the knee, right, like this, or straighten it out when we're going to push out the knee. All right, so this is crescent lunge. So from here, hands, inhaling, looking up, and then exhaling, we're bending the knee down and shifting our knee down a little bit. we're going to be stretching the front of our hamstrings, right? Oh, sorry, the front of our, oh geez. You know, I had a mental blank in a second, guys. All right, our hip flexors. Inhaling up and then fantastic work. One more, inhaling, breathe in, grow a bit, and then exhaling down. And then from here, inhaling, as we're going to lean forward now, hands come back, and we're going to push our hip back and straighten the leg. Aeroplane. All right, that's it. That's shorten the step. Fantastic work. And then this is the move. Inhaling, coming up, hands up to the sky, and then down. Right, and then forward, aeroplane. Inhaling, looking our gaze forward. Yes, it's hard. Yes, we've got some great balance. Did you need the chair? You need it? Not yet? Okay, so inhaling, come up now, hands looking up. I'll get it for you. And then down, bending the knee. There we go. There you go. All right. And then inhaling and then exhaling, taking our weight forward. Fantastic work. And then pushing back with our hands. So with our hands, your thumbs are sort of like pointing to the ground, and we want to be like tensing them up, looking back. Last one, inhaling, coming up on the tippy toes, and then down. Fantastic work. And then coming right up to there. All right, fantastic work. You know which side we're going to be doing now. All right, so a couple of different ones, introducing a different move every time, but we're also working on seeing where we are, because I've seen so much improvement over the last few weeks in all the other moves as well. So it's just about seeing where you are, and you get to get a good gauge of it. All right, so this time we're moving our right leg back, moving my cameras. All right, from here, front of the mat, looking at the feet again, feet shoulder width apart, lifting the toes up, bringing them down. Fantastic. You're going to grow tall, and then inhaling, and then exhaling. Hands on hips, we can bring our legs back. Let's just have a look down now. Our feet are shoulder width apart again, so we don't need to be walking a tightrope. Our hips are facing forward, and we might not be leaning, but let's just face our shoulders forward. Excellent work. From here, inhaling, hands come up. We could come up on the tiptoes a bit more, and then bend that knee. All right, fantastic. Inhaling, crescent lunge. One more. And then from here, breathe in. And then coming forward to aeroplane. We're leaning forward now, and we're placing the weight onto that front foot. We can feel that, and we're going to be pushing back with our heel and straightening that front leg. You might even squeeze your butt a little bit. And then inhaling. Come up on two toes, and then a crescent lunge. Fantastic work there. Inhaling. And then fantastic. One last time. Inhaling. Down, and then one more. Aeroplane. Let's see if we can do a little bit of a balance here when we come up. Inhaling. Lifting the front foot up. The stalk, and then down. Oh, excellent. We all got that. Fantastic. I can't call you guys out on it. All right, let's do a little bit of our what do we call it? Resetting the gyroscope and opening up our hips. We've done this a few weeks in a row now. Slightly different to what would be a regular move, but we all know that it helps with our with doing this. So I'll give a demonstration of where we're at, and if you need the do we need the aircon on? You guys all right? Okay, no worries. So from here, when we breathe in, it's lifting the right leg to start, and then we're going to rotate around and then meet our feet in each time, okay? And we're going to go around in the clockwise direction. All right, so start with me. That was the example. Yes, if you need, we'll go there. So even if you're lifting your leg and rotating it, it's the act, balancing is one, but the other thing though that we're working on is you feeling that you're rotating and controlling your hips. Okay, so it's okay to just put your foot down and do this, because what we're doing is then when we shift our gaze, instead of looking down at your feet, I want to keep your head tracking across the room, right, the same height, okay? So we're going to be going from the feel of this. All right, Miyagi-Do. All right, inhaling. We could lift our foot, sorry, that was my bad, and then we can rotate, exhale and rotate around, foot down. So we're leading with our breath. Okay, inhaling, hands up, legs up, legs up, legs up, and then exhaling as we rotate around, and then come back around to the side. Keep going, inhaling, hands up, legs up as well, and then rotate. Fantastic. And go one more time. Inhaling, legs up, and rotate. All right, so we're going to reverse this one around this rotation. Was that 2 rotations, 2 revolutions? Or was that just the one? One. Okay, so I'm going to walk around here. So when we lift our hands, guys, the legs are going to come up and we're connecting our breath to it. Okay, so inhaling, lifting. Yes, no, left leg this time, other one, and we're going the opposite way. Right, and then exhaling. It's all right to wave around because trees wave around when the wind blows, right? Inhaling, hands up, and rotate around. Fantastic work. All right, so I want you to imagine when we're doing this is placing that weight as you lift your leg onto the supported leg, the standing leg, right? Inhaling, lifting the leg up, and then exhaling to rotate. Fantastic work there. One more time, inhale, lift the leg up, and rotate. All right, I'm going to do the heels hoist, right? I'm going to call it the heels hoist because, you know, you never ever played Goon of Fortune? No? No? No, anyway. Silly old army joke. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to rotate 5 times slowly each way. So we're resetting our gyroscope here. I don't need to go fast. I don't want you to get dizzy. Right, we're going to be clockwise first, right? So we're going to inhaling, arms out, halfway, and then exhaling. 1. All right, I'm going to rotate around, connect your breath. See if you can connect the rotation to your breath. So half, as we do half, so inhaling, the other side of the room, and then exhaling. And for the last 2 revolutions, we're going to pick it up a little bit. Inhaling. Yeah, one more. One more. All right, we're going to go the other way if you're going to feel dizzy. All right, this helps you with that balance. All right, cool. Let's rotate it, shake it out a little bit. Reverse it now. Inhaling. And then... Woo. Right, so remember, inhale. I took 1 inhale and tried to release for the whole time. So half and half. Ready? Inhale. Second revolution. Hey, Nev. How you going, bud? All right, inhaling. All right, we're all heels hoists here. All right, I need one more time. Oh, Nev. All right, excellent work, guys. Let's make our way now down towards the ground again. All right, but let's not do this. We're going to get down on the ground somehow. So from here, come up to the front of the mat. Inhaling. Exhaling. Forward fold. And from here, with our hands, plant our hands, and then take 1 foot down onto our knee, and then the other. So this is where you may need your knee pads. We're going to start making our way down to the floor. All right, from here we're going to thread the needle. So if you've not done the thread the needle before, let's look at our hands again. Our knees are underneath our hips and our hands are splayed, shoulder width apart underneath our shoulders. So let's have a look at our base here that's going on. Fantastic work. All right, now you can choose whether you do this right, is have the tops of your feet facing down, sort of getting a little bit more grounding, or you can choose to also stretch the toes, whichever it's a yogi's choice. So we're going to start with our right hand. I'll give a demonstration first, guys. You may also need a block if this might help you as well. So I'll put it here as an option. What we're doing is inhaling and lifting our hand up, and then exhaling as we then thread our arm through, and then you can place your head on the block if that serves your purpose today. All right, and that's the move. All right, and we'll take 3 breaths whilst we're in the move. So right hand is what's moving, inhaling, looking up, rotating around, looking at your hand, and then exhaling. As we come down, threading the needle, shoulder on the ground, gaze to your left. That's it. You can put your shoulder there. Your shoulder doesn't need to hit the ground as long as you're feeling that stretch across your back shoulders. Right? You can also rest your head on a block. One more. Inhaling, let's unravel. Looking up at the hands, and then threading the needle. From there, it's just seeing where the air goes as well again with 2 breaths. That's right, you're doing it right. There you go, mate. And then inhaling, and then exhaling. Now I'm going to talk you through it. So we'll be moving our left hand this time. So inhaling, left hand up, that's it, looking up to the sky, and then exhaling as we thread the needle. Thread your arm through there. Cool. And then this might actually help. Put your head on it or your shoulder. Oh. Yeah. So then that way you can have a little bit more. There we go. Yes. 2 breaths here. A little bit of a back twist as well. Inhaling, hands up, and then exhaling as we thread the needle. Amazing work. Cool. Fantastic work. 2 breaths here. Cool. All right. Exhaling, coming back, we'll meet on all 4s. From here, I want you now to make your way to your stomach. Untuck the toes. So they're flat. And what we're going to do is our hands are going to be by our shoulders. Heads down. Now, from here, we're going to be putting our left hand out. Inhale, left hand out. In a T, by the side. Yes, excellent work. And then rolling over, pushing with that hand, supported hand. We're going to be rolling over and putting it, and then stretching open. That's fantastic work there. Using our back leg as a kickstand, put that on the ground. You can choose on the ground behind your leg. There we go. Right, fantastic work. A little bit of a chest opener and hip opener as well. And then exhaling. Rolling back over, switching sides now. Left hand by our chest, right hand out in a T. And we're going to be pushing away with our hand and then stretching our back. So we can use this foot as a kickstand. That's what I mean kickstand is that uses it as a, or even you can use it as a counterweight. Whichever works best for you. 2 breaths here. Yes. That's it, great, excellent work, mate. Okay, inhaling, back to the center. Fantastic work. All right, we're going to do that 1 more time each side. So left hand is the one that goes out. And then exhaling, rotate and push with your hand. Use your leg to grip. There we go. Kickstand. Yes, fantastic work. Yes, counter posing. We're opening up our hips, stretching out our chest. Inhaling, come back to center. Switch hands, and then exhaling, rotating around. Yes, amazing work. There we go, bend the knee, there we go. No, that's you, Sharon. Okay, excellent work. And then exhaling, come back to center. Amazing. All right, guys, now come up and let's meet in a seated position. All right, make your way down. Most of the hard work's done now. Right. Some of you might find it a little bit difficult, but we'll start off in this staff pose. From here, what we're doing is just it's the smallest movement. What we're doing is hands splayed by the side of our chest. We're sitting up straight, or we can keep our shoulders, elbows pointing back. And then when we do this, this is the move. Right, so we're going to inhale, and we're going to exhale, and just push up on our hands, and try and lift our tailbone off the ground a little bit. So this is just a little bit of motion there like that. Right, and pulling our tummy in. We're going to do 3 of those. Ready? Inhaling, exhaling, push, 2, 3, down. Inhale and push. 2, 3, down. This is our little preparing for our reverse tabletop. It's ready. One more. That's it. Hands could be side or could be facing you, whichever's more comfortable for you, right? Right. Inhaling and then exhaling. All right. Down. Right. In some other forms of yoga, there's a cross press and lift where you go like this, and I'm still working on it, lifting your hands and then transitioning to the front. We'll work on that. You know, that's a bit later. That's like way later. That's something that I'm working on as well, guys. We'll do one more for a good measure. Right, inhaling to set, exhaling. Pushing up, let's hold. 2, 3, down. Fantastic work. Now, this one, going to head to knee pose. Move your left foot and then place the inside of the sole of your foot on the inside of your right thigh. Legs out. Perfect. If you can, that's fine. Do you want to use a block? If that works better for you as well. You could place a block underneath your thigh. Fantastic work. Yes. And then if, it doesn't need to be right in here. If that works for you as well, where your leg's out, do you need help? Yeah, there we go. Place that underneath. I'm one for the props, right? Because it helps you enable you with a range of movement. So from here, I'm going to try and rotate our chest around, and then inhaling to set, and then we're going to climb up our leg, and then aim to look at our gaze towards our ankle or our toes, pulling the toes back. We don't need to keep our head all the way down. Fantastic. Once you're feeling the stretch, then you can release your head. 2 breaths here. 1. 2. Inhaling, come back up. And then we can rotate around, turn towards that bent knee, and just place our arms across now, looking up to counter pose that. 2 breaths. One more time now, coming to the front, and we'll do one more reach. Inhaling, set, and then there we go. Fantastic. All right, it's all within your range of movement. 2 breaths. Inhaling, coming back now, and then switching legs. This is the last one. So block, let's change the sides, if that works for you. Fantastic. Now when we reach, imagine pulling your toes back as well, and just see what the difference is between just having a loose foot and peeling your toes back. You can usually feel the stretch a little bit more if that's what you're looking for today. So chest forward, right, squared off to me, and then inhaling, and then that's fantastic. Another option as well, as if you'd like, is to be able to use a strap. 2 breaths. Inhaling, come back up, and then counter pose, rotating towards the other knee. So we're just loosening up that lower back as well. All right, 2 breaths here. And we'll meet back in that neutral position. I just wanted to show if you were wanting to get a little bit of stretch just to be able to help, and it's difficult to put your leg in, you could also use the straps. So I'll use the example from here. You could watch now. Hook the strap over. All right, yep. Oh, there you go. Oh. This is the last stretch, so I'll just talk you through it. Fantastic. Doesn't need to be reefed back. Remember, micro bend in that knee. Excellent work there. Yes. All right. Yep. Up on the straight leg. There we go. So, yep. Now bend your knee. There we go. Now from here, straighten the back, and then exhaling. We can pull on that a little bit more, right? Just to be able to feel that stretch in that lower back. We're trying to expand that lower back, and then feel the stretch in the back of the foot. Inhaling. One more. And then inhaling to come up, and then exhaling, rotate around. Fantastic work. All right, now we can meet in an easy seat or whatever works for you. Or actually, if it works for you, maybe we'll grab the seat again just to be able to finish this off. Right, we're not gonna, if you need to sit, that's cool. Or else we'll meet here because we're gonna do a few breaths. You know where we're going this time. All right, so with this one here, it's gonna be, start off with the nose breath, the straw breath through the mouth. And then, so in through the mouth and out through the mouth. We're going to be doing that for 30 seconds. And then switching to our nostrils and then back to our mouth and then breath hold. So while we'll do that for a couple of cycles, I'll talk you through it. Remember, this might bring up some tingling or you might feel lightheaded. If you do feel lightheaded, please feel free to be able to lie down on the ground. We can accept those feelings. You're in a safe space. And then you could always stop. So, you know, you don't need, if you start feeling too lightheaded. So we're going to be changing the body chemistry here and then working our lungs a little bit just to round off to pick up the energy. We should be going down, but we're going to go up. Right, new moon. Right, so from here. Breathe in like a straw and out like a whale. Notice big belly breath. We're going to be switching to our nostrils in a second. 3, 2, 1, through the nose. Then 9, 8, 7, 6, and then it's going to be in and out through the mouth, open mouth. 2, 1, change to open mouth. Like a big bellows. You can close your eyes now if you feel like that too. At the end of the 5, we're going to be exhaling, and then on the empty lung is hold our breath for as long as we can. And then once we've finished holding our breath, we could come back to a normal, regular breath, whatever is that working for you. 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath. You could close down your eyes and take an internal gaze to the tip of your nose. Right, and just notice what your body's doing. Feel what's happening here and see if there's any difference to what you did, how you felt at the start of the session. Right, you can shift, that's all right. Once you need to start breathing, you could start breathing normally again. All right, I'm going to do one more cycle of this time a little bit more, building a little bit more energy. All right, so if you can crack your eyes open, we're going to shake it off a little bit, and then ready for this last round of breathing. Right, our straw breath in and whale breath out. 10 quick ones. Ready? In now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, 20 in through the nose and out through the nose. Once we have a sip. Fantastic work here. You might feel that it actually gets a little bit cold through the nose. All right, ready? All right, switch now to open mouth. Low. Noticing where the air goes. 3, 2, last one. Breath hold. Close down the eyes. Take your internal gaze to the tip of your nose. And imagine you're breathing, but you're holding your breath. Once you feel like you need to breathe, hold on for another count internally of 5, and then exhale. Fantastic work, guys. Let's shake it off now. We have gone a little bit over time. So last bit now, this will raise your hands. You can choose to close down your eyes, meet with your hands in prayer hands, and then bring the gaze and thumbs to the middle of your eyes. Peace be in mind. Take it to your lips. Peace be in what we say internally and externally. And then take it down to your heart center. Peace be with what's in your heart today. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through the last 60 minutes of your practice. I hope it serves you for the rest of the week. And I'll see you next week. Namaste. I remember, I wanted to take this moment as well. I know a couple of you have been to a couple of different RSL Active activities, and there's been some really good positive feedback to the RSL, so I really thank you for that positive feedback that you've given. It really just helps, and it also is amazing to acknowledge as well how far you've all come in the last few weeks, and I hope you return in the next few weeks.